Republican Senator Susan Collins was heckled by protesters today while she was attending a Maine ribbon cutting event. The Republican senator is one of several politicians who had to deal with angry protests in recent months. Tyrone Bowman live. Let's talk about this story. According to USA Today, Republican MAGA Senator Susan Collins from Maine was heckled and drowned out at times by demonstrators at a ribbon-cutting ceremony in her home state Tuesday, the latest in a series of confrontations between protesters and members of Congress. Shame, shame, shame. Protesters yelled at Collins as she cut the ribbon to mark the completion of long-running Route 1 construction project in Searsport. The demonstrators were yelling about cuts to Medicare, Israeli attacks on Gaza, and Trump's nominees on the Supreme Court. Video of the event shows. Could you please just listen for just one? Collins said at one point before she was again interrupted. We'd like you to listen. One of the demonstrators yelled while another chastised Collins for not holding any town halls with constituents. For not holding any town halls with constituents. At another point, Collins said, I have a suggestion. Would you listen to the suggestion? Vote Graham Plattner, one of the protesters offered, referring to a Democrat running for Collins's seat. Collins tried reasoning with the crowd, asking them to let her get through this brief ceremony before being interrupted again. They don't want you to continue to talk garbage, trash, and deal with the status quo comments. How many times have I said before this camera, people are angry, they're upset. Inflation, Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment. The farm and agriculture industry is in shambles. The senator, a moderate Republican and sometime Trump critic, gestured to the organizers behind her and asked the crowd to show them respect. One of the demonstrators yelled, they did respect them, but we don't respect you. They don't respect her. A video of the protest posted to TikTok by a user who goes by the handle @HikeMaine shows. Collins told NBC affiliate News Center Maine later in the day that she'd met and spoken with some of the protesters on her way out. Doesn't mean anything, Senator. You're a little too late to the party, don't you think? You only came to Maine for one reason. You didn't come there for them. You came near the grandstand. You came near to stand before the cameras and cut a ribbon. You have virtually ignored your constituency. Demonstrators seem to be part of the political world nowadays, Collins said. It was interesting to see how much misinformation they had. Collins' office did not immediately respond to NBC News' request for further comment. Protesters and demonstrations against elected members of Congress in recent months have led some politicians on both sides of the aisle to cancel town halls or avoid them altogether. No, the Democrats have not canceled any town hall meetings whatsoever. This part is a lie. That's to make it seem like it's equal on both sides. No, the Democrats haven't canceled anything. It's the Republicans who are hiding. It's the Republicans who are running because they are ashamed of what they have done to this country. They're ashamed for not being a voice for the voiceless. They're ashamed for not standing up for the homeless and the hungry and the poor. And for Collins to say, well, they don't know what they're talking about. First of all, they're not in the political realm and they're not behind closed doors when you all have all these talks and all these meetings. All people know is that their daily lives are being affected. That's all they know. All they know is that they're hurting economically. They don't have enough money to pay their bills. Inflation is out of control. Medicaid and Medicare cuts all around. EBT food stamps have been cut. And it affects all people, not just black and brown people, white people too. They get food stamps, just like everybody else. So we're not going to make this a one-side partisan thing here. Collins, they don't like you. That's the problem. Because you're a compromiser. You've been in the Senate too long. It's time for her to go. Two of those who bucked that trend were Republican reps Mike Alford of Missouri and John Burching of Oklahoma, who held town halls in their districts on Monday. Both got into heated exchange with constituents over Trump's decision to deploy the National Guard in Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles. The Alford event in Harrisonville saw attendees engaging in shouted exchanges with one another, and with Alfred at times making it difficult for him to answer questions uninterrupted. Get used to it, it's going to be the norm for y'all. You can be smug, you can be stuck up, you can be sedity, but people are tired. And they're going to voice their opinions publicly because you won't listen to them. All the calls that they field to your office, you probably send it to voicemail so you don't have to hear them. You ignore their letters, you don't read them. You're not trying to make life any easier for anybody. And if people are upset in Maine, what makes you think they're not going to be upset in the cities and in the rural areas of this nation? You wait. You mark my word on this one. It is going to be a rocky road to the midterm elections next year. And the Republicans are going to grandstand and they're going to have the president come in and speak for them and stuff and in very calculated, carefully catered events. They won't be open to the public. It's going to be a dog and pony show to make it Barnum and Bailey. Maybe they can contact Vince McMahon because he's their friend. He can show them how to put on a good show. But in everyday real life, people who are hurting and suffering and dealing with stuff, they don't think this stuff is funny. Let me ask you a question to those of you that are in the comment section. Now you got this. Never mind, I'm not going to respond to that. How would you like it if your grandmother or your grandfather's Medicaid was cut off? How would you feel if they went to go get their medicine and told they don't have any medical coverage? And they can't give them their medicine? How would you feel if your child goes to school and there's no tuition money to subsidize what they're doing? Think about it. Never surrender. Never quit.